Hey, welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a great week of practice. And what you saw there was something that we touched base on recently, and we called it the BB box, and we also called it the pentatonic house. It's a really neat little pattern, okay? And it's used by B.B. King. I mean, he hangs out basically in this part of the guitar, and he plays those little patterns and maybe a little something extra too, but it's a really cool little 5-note little shape that we can all use. Now, what it actually is, and what I didn't tell you because I didn't want to intimidate you, was for those of you that don't know your scales or anything and are a little bit freaked out by them, it's actually the top notes or the highest notes from the major pentatonic scale. So what I didn't want to do is say, okay, everybody, today we're going to learn the major pentatonic scale because, well, you know, it's not for everybody, right? Okay. So in this way, if you did noodle around with this, you've already taught yourself those notes. And then the other thing we worked on recently was this exercise about crossing the border and how we have to slide laterally one fret with our fingers to keep the note structure because of the way the guitar is tuned when it gets to the B string, right? So every time you go over that border, either direction, you got to shift over. So I came up with this little exercise, but really what that is also part of that major pentatonic scale. Now, let's take a quick look at the major pentatonic and what I'm talking about. So it starts off, right? We all know the minor, which is A, and then we go over here, right? So in the major pentatonic, we start on A, the same, but we go right here, like in the major scale. We go right here for the next note, and then we go all the way over, and we do the same thing over on this string, but then we only go 2, then we do that shift, 2, and then the 2 under it. Okay, so there's our box right there. And there's our shift. So this exercise actually shows us how to manipulate and navigate through those top 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the highest part of the A major pentatonic scale, a very popular scale. And remember, everything that we've dealt with so far is based on the theory of the major scale. So meaning, if we take a chord, C, and we move it up 2, it becomes a D. And we go 2 more, it becomes an E. And then we only go 1 and it's an F, right? 2, 2, 1, whole, half. If we want to know what chords are in a key of C, so we have a C, and then we go up 2, we got a D, we go up 2, we got an E, we go up 1, whole, half. 2, 2, 1, we have an F. Okay, remember ordering pizza, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, right? Okay, so now inadvertently, without knowing it, we've learned the top half of the major pentatonic scale. Okay, if you want to go ahead and learn the bottom half, as I showed you, you're more than welcome, but we won't really need that for what we're doing today. Okay, so just that half right there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And of course we could play that here, G, and we could play it here. Okay, all right. Now let's go all the way back. And we talked about playing up the neck. Now, usually when you play up the neck, right, you're going to have to use different chord shapes to get different voicing. So you can't play your open C shape and expect it to be a C chord. Okay? You're going to have to come up with another shape. And we use usually triads for that when we're up the neck. But playing open chords up the neck is the first step. It's a great way to play up the neck, but still use the chord shapes that we know and can play. So that's when our C becomes a D and our F becomes a G, right? Okay. So in this case, remember those open chords that move well up the neck. D was one of them. D, E, F, G, A, B, right? F was another one. F, G, A, B, C. All right. There's our F chord, which we play with these two barred right here, okay, and a little C shape squished down. We played that or learnt that to avoid playing this F bar chord. It's very challenging as a beginner. So we play F this way, okay? F, G, A, B, right? Okay. Now, let's go back to our box, our house. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So this is an A. A. All right. Look where my big fat finger is. On the tip or the peak of that house. So all I got to do now is pivot up, and there's my A major or E major based bar chord, right? Which then we can move up and down as we need it, right? So again, look where that finger is. It's the tip of the house. So now we can go. Right? Yeah, it sounds pretty cool, right? Okay. Now, let's take a look at those triads. Let's look at the A. There's an A chord, sweet A chord. And by the way, there's some really good picking on these F shapes up the neck, but we'll get into that. We've covered it a little bit. We'll get into it again in the future. So now, there's our A triad, okay? Because that's what that is, those three notes, and we're only strumming those three strings. Look where our big finger is. It's on the same spot as the A bar chord. So we don't move that. We can just pivot. Now we can go. We have some options now. So if you see those videos where someone's kind of noodling around to a chord progression and they're playing some and they do this, that's what they're doing, okay? Just to show you how it all kind of works together, there's no one way, because now it becomes you've got some tools, now you got to get creative. And you're not going to make good music at the beginning because you're just learning this and you're figuring it out. So just like when you learn a scale the first time, like we did that A, we're not going to be able to really make it musical because we got to get our fingers around it. We got to figure it out. Then we can start making melodies with the scale. Well, it's the same thing with what we've just looked at today, right? So now I'm going to put a backing track on and we'll see just some of the ways that we can use our newfound kind of knowledge here, okay? All right, so I have a couple of chords ready here on the looping pedal, A and G, and I'm just going to slowly go through incorporating some of these new techniques into our playing. Now, you may not do it the same way as me, and that's the beauty of this, right? And don't panic when it doesn't sound like music right away, because just like when you learned your first scale or your first few chords, like you're just kind of going through the mechanical part, you know, A, B, C, D, E, and it didn't sound like music, right? So the same is going to happen here. So it's going to take a while for you to get your fingers around this, get your head around this, but rest assured, it will help as you practice moving forward. So let's get this started. We have, here's our A to G, right? think you get the idea, right? We can use a number of these techniques, toggle back and forth. We can play some notes from the high part of both the A and G major pentatonic, because now you know the high half of that scale, and that's all we were doing there, is we were playing notes out of that scale, and then we combined it with some bar chords and the odd time a triad. So we went right? That's all we were doing. And so nothing to be intimidated by. Yeah, it takes some practice. But you know what? In no time, you'll be looking back at this thinking, oh my God, how did I miss that, right? So for me, this was a light bulb moment, and I wanted to share it with you. And I wanted to shed some light on sometimes when you watch people playing guitar, and it looks like they're kind of doing everything. They're playing bar chords, they're playing notes, well, this is basically what they're doing. They're just further advanced, and they made it sound better. And again, you don't have to use all these techniques. You may not use the bar chords. You may not use the pentatonic houses, the C or the A major pentatonic pattern that you just learned. You may not use that. You may incorporate a few notes here and there. And don't forget, we haven't even touched base on using the lower part of that scale. Okay? We'll save that for another time. All right, so I hope this has been a little bit of a light bulb moment for you. Okay? Remember how everything keys off of this finger right here? All right? So it does have multiple purposes, this finger. And in our case, it's kind of important because it's a staple and it's a pivot point no matter which way we play this. Right? Okay, I hope it helps. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, inquiries, suggestions, all that stuff. And let me know in the comments. And also, if not, I will see you live on Tuesday afternoon. All right, see you later. Bye for now. And remember, it's always all about the practice.